What up, though, y'all? It's Chris, broadcasting from the D, and there's a little bit of fallout happening behind Charlie Kirk's passing. Some people are being held accountable and fired for their disgusting comments that were made after he was shot. MSNBC has fired their analyst Matthew Dowd for some nonsense that he has said. Now, mind you, this man had just been shot. We hadn't even known anything more than there was an attempt on his life. And Matthew Dowd couldn't wait. He could not help himself. He had to say some utter nonsense, essentially blaming him for the attack on his own life, saying that things that he was saying basically brought this on himself. And MSNBC has decided to fire him behind this, and I'll get to why I believe that's the case in a little bit. But let's read the article here that I have, Fox News talking about it. It says MSNBC has fired political analyst Matthew Dowd for suggesting hateful rhetoric from TPUSA co-founder Charlie Kirk led to his own assassination. Two sources familiar with the matter told Fox News Digital. The network previously denounced Dowd's comments on social media. And here's a quote from MSNBC. During our breaking news coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Matthew Dowd made comments that were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. MSNBC President Rebecca Cutler said in a statement, "We apologize for his statements, as has he. There is no place for violence in America, political or otherwise." A spokesperson for MSNBC declined to comment. Dowd joined MSNBC in 2022 after a long stint at ABC News. It's no coincidence that after he had a quote-unquote long stint with ABC, MSNBC is where he ended up at. This just really bothers me because you have a man here. Remember, at the time, we didn't know. All we knew is he had been shot. He later passed away at the hospital. But just, man, they couldn't wait to get on the air and say something ridiculous. Now, I actually watched the clip of him saying this, and the woman he was speaking to, it seemed like she saw the direction that this was going in and that it wasn't going to be good, and she kind of like tried to interrupt him, and he continued to talk over her and finish his moronic statement. Ironically, the person that he was talking to was trying to save him from himself, and he couldn't get out of his own way. He had to go ahead and put that out there in the ether. But let me continue. After Kirk was shot Wednesday afternoon, Dowd suggested it was caused by a chain reaction from his hateful words against various groups. Kirk, a leading conservative activist and top ally of President Donald Trump, later died at the age of 31. So, I find it ironic that this is always the response from the side that claims to always be on the moral high ground. This is the side that's always talking about, love and acceptance and all that. It's funny how all of that goes out of the window if you dare say or believe things that they don't agree with. All that preaching garbage about tolerance and acceptance. It's funny how it just is never around when it comes to something happening to somebody that they do not agree with or doesn't agree with their beliefs. It says before the news that Kirk had died, Dowd told MSNBC host Katie Tur. Okay, so that's who he was talking to. "We don't know any of the full details of this yet. We don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration." What a stupid fucking thing to say. Dowd said Kirk had been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. It's so funny how they want to be as quirky and goofy as they want to be, and you're supposed to sit back and tolerate it. Don't you dare respond in a hateful way to them doing what they want to do. But if you set up a table at a university and simply invite people to discuss warring opinions, you are pushing hateful speech out there, and this may ultimately, or should, or could lead to your demise. That's putting hate out there. Inviting people from the other side out to have a discussion. Because I mean, I don't recall him ever being overly offensive or nasty to the people who would get up on the podium. I mean, they would trade jabs. You know, they would say something sideways. He'd kind of say something sideways back, you know, but for the most part, I never seen him just be flat out disrespectful. If anything, he would return energy. There's plenty of times I've seen people get up there, have a disagreement with him, and be very respectful, and he return that energy. So this idea that he's just always so hateful, putting bad energy out there, and this is the end result of it, it's just silly, man. He also said, I think that it's the environment we're in, that the people just, you can't stop with these sorts of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place. And that's the unfortunate environment we're in, he added. The awful words of what? Boys are boys and girls are girls? Because apparently saying that boys are boys and girls are girls and that men can't menstruate, this is what they find to be so triggering. If you stand up there and say, hey, listen, look, I side with biology. If you have XY chromosomes, you're a man, you're not a woman. I mean, how is that hate speech and not just outright science? You know, sounds weird to me too, y'all. I don't know. Let's continue. Dowd's comments were widely condemned in the wake of the tragic shooting, with numerous figures calling for his termination. Dowd tried to backtrack on the liberal social media platform Blue Sky, which is a haven for left-wing goofies. It's an echo chamber for all their nonsense. And if I could be frank with you, issuing a retraction on Blue Sky means nothing. Because you're there with a bunch of like-minded people that really aren't holding you accountable. The noise is coming from everywhere around you. And to I guess deal with it, you go to an echo chamber and release a statement. Come on now. The disrespect was public. And even though Blue Sky is a public forum, is it really? Because if you say anything even remotely conservative on there, you get banned, really. You know, so it's not the freedom of speech. And I could go into that of how these people, they hate freedom of speech. They want to be able to say whatever they want to say, get off all their opinions and silence the other side. They want free speech, but only for themselves. They want any opposing views to always be silenced. It says, on an earlier appearance on MSNBC, I was asked a question on the environment we are in. I apologize for my tone and words. Let me be clear. I in no way intended for my comments to blame Kirk for his horrendous attack. Let us all come together and condemn violence of any kind. That's what Dowd wrote on Blue Sky, which is BS. It wasn't really his tone that was the problem. Even though his tone did suck, it wasn't his tone. It was what he was saying. People be trying to be like, what, tone police? Oh, it's the way you said it. If what a person is saying is correct, it really doesn't matter the tone that they put behind it. If what they're saying is correct, if what you saying is some BS, saying it with a nicer tone doesn't make it more acceptable. So I push back on that. Dowd, a Democrat who was formerly a Republican strategist and an independent, is one of the most rabidly anti-GOP voices on cable news. He made a failed bid for the Democratic nomination for Texas Lieutenant Governor back in 2021. And that appears to be the end of it. So, listen, here's why MSNBC fired him. It's because Trump is in office. It's that simple. If Biden was still in office, or if Kamala had have won, this man would not have been fired for the things that he said. they know now they can't just say this sort of stuff and get away with it. And here was somebody that Trump personally liked. So they can't just say disparaging things about conservatives anymore without any repercussions. They understand that. That's why they're moving the way that they are. These people got so used to just saying whatever the hell they want without any pushback, as long as it was pushing the left side while Biden was in office. This is why people like him feel so comfortable being so disrespectful in the wake of a tragedy. So I'm betting he's not going to be the only one to get let go. I'm probably going to end up making another video or 2 or 3 or whatever about others getting let go, because I do see that there is some sort of accountability being given, some sort of repercussions being given for people that want to go out here and attack a man. Let's put aside politics. It don't matter that you didn't agree with the man's politics. He was a man. He should not have been slain for his opinions. He had a wife, 2 children, and he's the breadwinner, right? He's the provider. And so what happens to them? All because you didn't like the stuff that he said. It's that low test stuff that I be talking about, man. This will always be categorized as low test for me. I will never see this as anything but, when you can't handle somebody else's words and you want to go out and do something stupid like this. It's very low test energy. I'm going to leave it there, though, you guys. Hit me with a like if you like what I do. Hit me with a sub if you like what I do. Hit me in them comments. I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.